The life of little Harmony Montgomery is almost too tragic to talk about. Her death was so violent and so utterly reprehensible that it's almost too disturbing to mention. But tonight, we will talk about both, because Harmony deserves to be remembered, and this little angel deserves justice. Harmony was born to Crystal Sorey and Adam Montgomery. Adam was in prison when she was born, so Crystal was her sole custodial parent. But unfortunately for Harmony, Crystal suffered from addiction problems, and as a result, family services got involved. Eventually, Harmony was placed in foster care. When Adam got out of prison, he had very sporadic contact with Harmony, but somehow he was eventually granted full custody in 2019. Harmony was then living with Adam, her stepmother Kayla, and her two half-brothers. Adam and Kayla had addiction problems and big money problems. The family ended up living in a car. That's where prosecutors say Adam murdered his daughter in 2019. He's now on trial, but says he didn't do it. He claims Kayla is responsible for Harmony's death. Tonight, we have the latest forensic and DNA evidence revealed in court. Then we will go back in time to try to understand how career criminal Adam Montgomery was awarded custody as we continue our investigation into what happened to Harmony.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And when I think about Harmony Montgomery, I think of one question: why? And this applies to a bunch of circumstances here. The first and the most obvious is, why would anyone ever do harm to this girl? I mean, I don't even know if, there's no answer that makes sense there. There's no answer that could make sense to me or anyone else with a heart, with an ounce of humanity in them. Like, why would you ever even consider harming this little girl? Now, there's some other why questions that are, I think, really important in trying to uncover her story and understand how this all happened. And the first is with Adam Montgomery. Like, why did he want custody? Why did he want custody? You know, when she was born, he was in prison, saw her sporadically, but then for some reason, he's showing up in court to get custody of this little girl with special needs. And why would he do that? Why would he do that? Did he love her? Did he miss her? Did he think it was in the best interest of this little girl to be with him in New Hampshire, living in a car while he was doing drugs? Or was there something else up? I don't know, maybe some government assistance checks that would come in the mail to whoever had custody? Maybe. Then a bigger question, like, why did he get custody? Like, what happened there? Now, I've never practiced family law, okay? But what I always understood is that the test that we use in our system of justice is, when we're dealing with children and minors who basically really can't speak for themselves, what we're supposed to do, and when I say we, it's the decisions that are made are always supposed to be what's in the best interest of the child. Now, I understand there is some presumption out there that it's always in the best interest of a child, if possible, to be with a biological parent. I understand that. But this is Adam Montgomery we're talking about, okay? This isn't Father Knows Best. This is Father Barely Knows His Daughter. That's who it is. So what happened there? We're going to investigate that tonight, because this is a problem, a major problem, that someone sitting up high in a courtroom, because that's who makes these decisions, it's not a jury, someone sitting high with a robe, came to the conclusion that the best place for this special needs girl is to be with him. Why? Then the final question that I want to tackle tonight is, why did everyone lose track of her? When we first reported this story, when I first heard this story, the heartbreaking part, the part to me that spoke volumes about the life that Harmony had lived or was living, because we didn't know at the time if she was alive or not, is that a little girl is missing for 2 years. Nobody sees her for 2 years and nobody's doing anything. Like, there's no adult anywhere. There's no family member anywhere. There's no family services person anywhere. There's no neighbor anywhere. There's no one anywhere saying, hey, have you seen Harmony? Where's Harmony? Oh, I'd like to see Harmony. How's Harmony doing? Do you have any pictures of Harmony? Huh, Dad, who fought for custody? Do you have a picture of your daughter on your phone? Oh, no, you sold your phone to get more drugs. I'm sorry. Like, how does that happen? We're going to try to answer that question as well. But a lot happened today inside the courtroom from the trial of Adam Montgomery. So let's go straight to Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who is in the courtroom all day, has the big moments for us tonight. Matt, great to see you. So as we know, the star witness for the prosecution, unfortunately for them, but it's who was in Adam's life, is Kayla Montgomery. So today, some witnesses attempting to corroborate some of her testimony to have this jury understand that maybe she's telling the truth.
Yeah, Vinny, that was some key moments that we saw here today. Nice to see you tonight. And you know who we didn't see was Adam Montgomery for day 7 of his murder trial. So there was a lot of witnesses that took the stand today corroborating Kayla Montgomery's story that Adam beat his daughter to death and then moved the body and the remains from place to place, including 2 former employees of the Portland Pie Company where Adam worked as a dishwasher and also a cook, a prep cook, where they saw him with the CMC diaper bag and they watched him walk it into the cooler with all the food. Take a listen.
Did you ever see Adam Montgomery there with a bag in the walk-in cooler?
I think I did, but I couldn't say with any absolute certainty.
Okay. And what do you think you remember of that?
I believe I recall him either coming into the walk-in or leaving the walk-in with a bag.
He always would just place it inside the walk-in cooler on the lower shelf. Sometimes he would move it to a different, location, but it was mainly on the lower left-hand side inside the cooler.
And then we heard more corroborating evidence for Kayla Montgomery's story. We heard from 2 of Adam Montgomery's former friends, including Brendan Middleton. He's the one that is currently incarcerated. He's in Orange there, and he testified that he helped rent Adam the U-Haul because Adam didn't want that in his name. And then the lady on the left of your screen, Brittany Bedard, she rented the motel room that they stayed the night, that Kayla says that Adam left with the CMC bag with Harmony's remains in it, and then he came back in the U-Haul the next morning right before sunrise. But it's very interesting because under cross, she did mention to the fact that she never saw Adam holding that bag. She only saw Kayla holding the bag.
That's fascinating, interesting, potential problem for prosecutors, although I don't think it's going to be a huge problem. But again, Kayla Montgomery, I'm sure many will look at her and say she got a sweet, sweet deal in all of this, but it seems that her testimony was very necessary to try to put the pieces together and understand what happened to Harmony. So this bag, I mean, these poor witnesses, they're working hard at the pizza parlor, and to now learn that one of their coworkers is bringing a bag with his daughter's remains in it and putting it in the freezer had to horrify them.
Yeah, they were not excited about sharing that with the jury, and the jury, each and every time we hear testimony about the Portland Pie Company, remember it was also part of the jury view, you can see that there's a bit of disgust in the faces of these jurors that are going to be making the ultimate decision here.
Yeah, it's ghoulish stuff, absolutely ghoulish. Okay, let's get back to Adam Montgomery. This is a guy who, it seems, had some level of paranoia going on, right? He knows what he's doing with these remains, and it seems that there was some evidence and testimony that he was a little paranoid that perhaps people were onto him.
Yeah, during the 2 days of testimony of Kayla Montgomery on the stand, she was talking about the fact that he would beat her, he would threaten her, and then he would tell her that she is working with authorities. He suspected that there were cameras or microphones throughout the house. And we heard a little bit of testimony about that from the maintenance worker. So at their Union Street apartment, there was a maintenance call because the bathroom was clogged, the drain in the bathroom, in the bathtub. And so this maintenance worker was called there on February 27th, which happens to be one day after police testified that there was the purchase of a grinder saw and also a blade paid for by cash one day before. Well, there's this maintenance call, and when they're working on the house, Adam is acting very strange. Take a listen.
When you're doing this repair, where is Adam Montgomery?
Right outside the bathroom door.
Okay. And are you guys talking at all during that time?
Not really. He's doing more pacing than talking. So.
More pacing than talking.
Yeah, he was just kind of waiting for us to finish. I think I had to go back one more time to fix some lights on the ceiling.
Lights on the ceiling?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that trip?
They were just popped off the ceiling. They were hanging by the wires.
Literally
Yeah.
off the ceiling?
Yeah, the wires weren't disconnected. I mean, a light isn't heavy. The lights we use are real light. They'll hang by the wires and still work, but they were hanging by the wires, so put them back up.
Any idea how those lights got pulled down?
Speculation.
Excuse me, I'll withdraw the question and I'll rephrase. With regards to those lights, did Adam Montgomery tell you how they got pulled down?
He said he took them down because he thought there were cameras in them.
And remember that this Union Street apartment was searched after police were searching for Harmony Montgomery in 2022. And they also were looking into the plumbing there at that house. They also removed the refrigerator, that item, from the house. And we haven't heard much testimony about that refrigerator. We've heard other places where the prosecutors say that her body was stored. But today, from this witness, we heard that when he was flipping the apartment after they left, he threw away all their belongings, he ripped out the carpet, and Vinnie, they threw away the refrigerator.
So the refrigerator that was seized by investigators wasn't the one that was in the apartment when Adam and Kayla were there with Harmony's remains.
That's correct, according to this testimony today.
Wow. Wow, that's huge. Because that was such a big day, that search. They wheel out the refrigerator, they're checking the drains, and there was Adam. I mean, the testimony is that he's working in the bathtub, so there would be potential evidence, biological material in the drains, in the sewers, somewhere perhaps trapped in there. Wow. Okay. So how did the day end today?
With bombshell testimony from a lady that spends her life volunteering, and she actually provides medical rides for people in need that can't make it to their appointments, that have no transportation. Her name is Rose Smith, and she took the stand today, and she talked about giving rides to both Kayla and Adam Montgomery when they needed to get their methadone treatment. And then there was one day in particular, she said, I'll never forget. She looked at the jury and she said, Kayla was being abused. Take a listen.
When you saw her face, how did she appear to you?
Her left eye was badly bruised and starting to swell shut.
Did you drive her that day down to the methadone clinic?
I drove both of them that day. She was shaky.
Where was Adam when you tried to give her the phone?
He was walking back towards the car, but
And so at that point, you said he was walking back towards the car?
I didn't see Adam there. I saw rage. Saw pure rage walking towards me. He reached into the window of the car and twisted my phone out of my hand and said, "You're not giving my wife that phone."
She said that's the moment that she'll never forget. She said that she bought mace after that particular moment. She carried that with her. I met up with her outside the courthouse here. She spoke with CourtTV. Here's what she told us.
That Adam had disappeared and pure blind rage was walking towards me. I describe him as Charlie Manson walking towards me. That's what it looked like.
So he's grabbing your phone. Is he holding your hand? Is he, is it a struggle?
It is a struggle. It was a tug of war with the phone.
She says she still has fear about that moment. She said that he looked pure evil. So I asked her if she noticed anything suspicious up until this point. She said that both Adam and Kayla were good actors, and they never once mentioned the name Harmony.
To me, that's game over stuff right there, because the whole defense is predicated upon Kayla being the killer here, right? And now we've got this dynamic by someone who appears to be a very nice woman, volunteering to do this type of work to help struggling addicts, putting herself in harm's way to help people like Kayla and Adam. Are you kidding me? And she gets confronted by him and she sees what she sees. That's powerful stuff from the prosecution. Matt Johnson, great work as always. Great to see you tonight. My guess is we'll be speaking again tomorrow. Thanks so much, Matt. All right, folks, so when we come back, let's talk about Adam Montgomery, the man on trial here for murder. How did he get custody? How did that happen? We're going to bring in some people very close to it who know a lot about what happened and how a career criminal ends up caring for this special needs girl that he's now accused of murdering. Plus, coming up next hour.
In Dedham, Massachusetts, Karen Reed is accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, but she says she's being framed and police have covered up what really happened. Today, a huge hearing in court, and we have the latest big news.
An innocent child and an unthinkable tragedy.
5-year-old Harmony Montgomery disappeared in 2019.
So you just need to find out where she is. I have nothing to say.
Now her own father stands trial for her brutal murder.
I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial.
So many questions that come back to the same question. How could this happen?
The murder of Harmony Montgomery trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, only on CourtTV.
Who was Harmony's birth father?
Adam Montgomery.
And how did you meet him?
Through a mutual friend.
Was he living with you when Harmony was born?
No.
Were the two of you living together when Harmony went to live with the Rafteries?
Never.
Did you ever have any other children with Adam Montgomery?
No.
At some point in 2019, who got custody of Harmony?
Adam.
That's Crystal Sorey, Harmony's mom. It's tough for her to answer that question, that Adam ended up getting custody. Now, we had her on this program, and I asked her how that happened. Here she is giving an explanation.
So Jameson's case, because he was born in Boston, his case was out of Boston. I had to pick between the two hearings, and it was basically, if I was at either one of them, if I wasn't at either one of them, it was going to go bad for me. So I called my lawyer, Frantic in Lawrence, and I said, I sent over from that courthouse to the other courthouse that I was proof that I was there. He said, I will quote, fight for a continuance. That never happened. There was no continuance granted, there was no continuance fought for, and they moved forward and handed him custody. So in the same day, not only did my son get adopted, but my daughter got handed over to the one person that I begged them never to give her to. I thought they would give me a chance to go to that court date, you know, like give me a week, you know, just to make it to that court date for Harmony, you know, because I had made it to every single court date, every visit, every class they made me do. I did everything they asked, and they couldn't even give me a continuance.
So that's Crystal Sorey explaining her recollection of what happened the day that Harmony was handed over to Adam Montgomery. And this comes back to the question, like, how and why would that ever happen? Because at this point, it's at this point, subsequent to this, there's been other charges, but take a look at his criminal history, according to the New Hampshire Union Leader. Charged with possession of a dangerous weapon on school grounds, 2006. Charged with burglary, misdemeanor, simple assault. That case dismissed in January of 2008. 2007, charged with criminally threatening his 15-year-old former girlfriend with a knife, domestic violence. 2008, charged with stabbing someone in the leg and pushing him out of a moving vehicle. 2008, charged with robbery after breaking into an apartment and demanding money from two women at gunpoint. Pleaded guilty to armed robbery and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Then 2014, this is what he's in prison for, I believe, at the time that Harmony is born. Multiple charges after shooting a man in the head. Did you hear what I said? Shooting a man in the head. He pleaded guilty to larceny from a person, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, carrying a firearm without a license, and discharging a firearm within 500 feet of a building. How about charging him with attempted murder? Like, that's what it's called when you shoot someone in the head. Ugh. Wow. Okay. So how does he get custody? My guests are going to put a lot of light on this issue. Joining me tonight in Boston, Massachusetts, Boston 25 reporter Bob Ward. In Atlanta, Georgia, the adoptive father of Harmony's brother, Blair Miller, is with us, and retired First Justice of the Worcester County Juvenile Court in Massachusetts and author of the book you need to read. It's about Harmony's case. It's called A Cruel Injustice, How Massachusetts Put a 4-Year-Old Harmony in the Hands of a Monster. Judge Carol Erskine is with us. Okay, Blair, I want to begin with you. Before we even get into this, how's the family? How the kids? How's everybody doing?
Well, Vinnie, I appreciate your kindness and appreciate your coverage. You know, we're obviously very concerned about what's happening with the trial. We're very concerned about the details we hear out of the trial. We're trying to live as a family of 5, my husband and our 3 boys, including Jameson. Very busy in school and getting through it each day, but also getting through it with the trial happening, and we're showing you some pictures of Jameson here. But
great smile.
You know, the detail.
I love that
He's got
smile.
a big smile. He's got a big smile and a big heart. And hearing details out of this trial, just awful. And we're certainly ready for this to get beyond us.
Okay, Blair, we heard Crystal's recollection of the day that Harmony was given to Adam. Does that coincide with your recollection of that day?
You know, when we were matched with Jameson, it wasn't even until after Harmony was trial had happened and she was reunited with her father, Adam Montgomery. You know, and you know, she talks about these cases happening on the same day. Our understanding is, yes, they were having 2 hearings that same day. Jameson's, we understand, was a pretrial hearing, and Harmony was having her trial. We didn't officially adopt Jameson until November of that year, and you're looking at that picture right here with Judge Erskine and our other boys and Jonathan, but that trial didn't happen until actually later, so both trials didn't happen on the same day as our understanding.
All right, Bob Ward, from your perspective, reporting on this, what's your take on how this happens, on how a little girl with special needs ends up in the hands of a career criminal?
Well, you know, Vinnie, a lot of it is still not really known. The Office of the Child Advocate in Massachusetts issued a 100-page report that shed a lot of light on the maneuvers that were made and who had custody and when they had custody and that sort of thing. But the actual decision that was made in February of 2019 by the juvenile court judge, we don't get a real clear understanding. What it appears is that this decision to hand Harmony over to Adam was done very quickly in an expedited fashion. It was done before Crystal could get to that hearing. That's number one. And then number two, it was done, more importantly, I think it was done before New Hampshire had a chance to fully review Adam's living situation in New Hampshire. Massachusetts had asked New Hampshire under the Interstate Compact to come up with a study of where Adam was and some very important information that needed to be done. And there was some red tape that's been explained and why that wasn't done, but it was not done. So the judge didn't have some of this information. And in the end, what trumped Harmony's rights were Adam's rights. And that's the only way I can look at this. And it's still a head scratcher, Vinny. There's still a lot I don't really understand.
Okay, Judge. 5 words: best interests of the child. How could that be the conclusion, giving Harmony to Adam Montgomery? I mean, the guy with this rap sheet, we know the insanity of his life, the drug addiction. My understanding is when there's custody issues, like for people who aren't even career criminals or completely addicted to drugs, but there's allegations going back and forth. Like there's like, there has to be some caseworker that has to go in, do a complete study of, all right, let me study this person, let me study that person, let me drug test this person, let me drug test that person, let me interview people in their life. Like, this is important stuff. It's not about a couple of drug addicts, it's about a little girl.
That's correct. It's not, everybody thinks it's about the best interest of children, and judges always have that in mind. But the law is that there has to be proof by clear and convincing evidence that the parent is unfit. And really what happened in this trial is that you had 3 lawyers, public counsel lawyers, one for the mom, one for the dad, and one for Harmony. And all 3 of them, each individually, decided to have a strategy that Harmony should go with her father. And so because that was their strategy, essentially, according to the Office of the Child Advocate, they didn't present any evidence. They didn't tell the judge about Harmony's special needs. They didn't tell the judge about Harmony's disabilities. While they don't mention the issue of the criminal record in the OCA report, they said what was presented was just the father's self-serving testimony that his days of criminal behavior were in the past. And so under the law in Massachusetts, past acts like criminal acts have prognostic value in determining custody. But if it wasn't presented, then the judge wouldn't know. And the OCA basically said it best. The Office of the Child Advocate said, if the evidence isn't put before the judge can only decide on what evidence is before the court. And the fact of the matter is reams of evidence didn't come in. This was a 1-day trial. As Bob just said, it was a short trial. It was expedited.
Let me ask you this, though, Judge.
4 years and 8 months old.
A little clarification. The special advocate. My understanding, again, I didn't do this work, but my understanding is that there should be like a lawyer in the courtroom advocating for Harmony. Is that who the special advocate was in this case?
There was a lawyer that was appointed to represent the child, and in Massachusetts is one of 9 states that has an express preference representation model, meaning that according to the Committee for Public Counsel Services, the administration basically told the OCA that the lawyer for Harmony, quote, achieved Harmony's goal. That was one thing they said. And then the other thing they said was Harmony's preference, and that the lawyer then used him or her substituted judgment going along with what Harmony said. It's really a dangerous representation model in Massachusetts, and that's one thing that Blair and Jonathan and I are trying to change, getting a special guardian ad litem, a best interest guardian ad litem on every single case for every single child, so that a lawyer just doesn't take the child's position and putting the child in danger.
Yeah, I mean, that's bizarre. That's bizarre. We only have about 30 seconds in this segment, but Judge, one more question for you. A judge is the judge, right? Like, you're on the bench, you're the judge, you're in charge. Like, you can say, well, do we have any information about your living conditions? Do we have any information about your criminal record? Do we have any information about you being violent in the past? And, oh, can we wait for the mother to come here? Like, a judge could do all that.
Yes, one of the issues that I write about is the fact that Crystal Sorey asked for a continuance, and she actually had a petition before the court the very same day to be heard. And although there wasn't a trial in Boston, it may have been a pretrial or it may have been a hearing on the merits for custody. The fact of the matter is she did have to be in both places. And, you know, as far as the other issues, judges have been warned, juvenile court judges have been warned not to get into substantive issues because they're not supposed to be on one side or the other. And, you know, that's something that doesn't fall on deaf ears and didn't for me either. So it's not like the judge could say, well, is there a criminal record? The judge has to decide based on what's put into evidence. They did put in evidence just by him saying, yep, I have a house and I have a job, but according to the OCA, there was no proof. He didn't provide proof that he had a job, pay stubs, or
a judge can still make a finding of credibility. I don't find you credible. You know, give me something to corroborate. I don't understand. I don't understand how. I sit here now, and it seems that the system needs to be changed, and you and Blair are working on that. But to me, it's insanity that no one is advocating what's best for the child. That is beyond insane. Okay, everyone is staying with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about, well, what happened to Harmony once she got to New Hampshire, and how do you lose track of this little girl? And what about family services in New Hampshire when they got a call? What did they do? What didn't they do?
I was, calling DCF. I was, telling my therapist, talking to anybody that I knew was either a mandated reporter or had some type of leverage because I wasn't getting anywhere.
When you got home, did you see Harmony there?
I did.
Where did you see her?
I seen her standing in the kitchen.
And when you saw her in the kitchen, how did she look to you?
She had a black eye.
How did the black eye look?
Full, like a raccoon's eye, black and blue.
Black and blue?
Yes.
And when you say full, what do you mean by full? Can you give us a good example?
All the way around.
That's Adam Montgomery's uncle, who witnessed what happened to little Harmony. And he called out Adam on it, and he found out what happened, and he made an anonymous call to family services. He told family members about it as well. He didn't sit on the information and do nothing. So family service worker goes there, protective service worker goes there the first time, apparently sees Adam and Harmony, but they're leaving, so decides to come back a second time about a week later. He testified about that second returning trip to investigate this anonymous call. Take a listen.
I did notice a small red mark under one of her eyes and some redness, a discoloration in the eye that was closest to that.
Did the defendant tell you anything regarding how that injury occurred?
He did. He said that he had bought the kids, he had two younger children, he bought the kids like foam swords or lightsabers, and that they were playing with them, and that Harmony was struck in the face, in the eye, and that's how that that's how she got that mark.
Nothing like taking Adam Montgomery for his word. Bob Ward, this was another opportunity here, right? We're looking at the life of Harmony Montgomery. Another opportunity, a person who's in the business of protecting children, and that's as far, apparently, as this investigation went.
I'll tell you, Vinnie, and I think that may be the last best chance to save Harmony's life was that worker and that visit. That's how crucial this is, because that's in middle of July 2019. The uncle goes and sees this huge black eye on Harmony, and you saw how it disturbed him. And he confronted Adam about it. Adam gave a vulgar reply about what he did. He admitted hitting Harmony. And then that uncle did the stand-up thing and filed a complaint right away. From what I understand, that social worker got to the house. By the time it got to him, it's about a week later. And he sees Adam and Harmony leaving the house, getting in the car as he's walking up, and he lets them drive away. He goes to the front door and talks to Kayla. And Kayla said, oh, that was Adam and Harmony, and they'll be back later. So then they arrange a couple of phone calls to come back and have this visit. And there was another visit that didn't happen because Adam got on the phone and said, you know, we do have something scheduled, but Harmony's sick, caught something from one of the other kids in the house. Can we postpone this? And that's why it got pushed back to August 7th. And so by the time this social worker sees Harmony for himself, he does not see a black eye. He only sees that red mark because it's been a couple of weeks. It's healed. And then there are a couple of more visits unannounced to the house. And by October, which I think is the last time that social worker was at the Guilford Street house and saw Harmony for himself, he said he didn't think there was anything to the black eye, did say the living conditions weren't the greatest, that the child might be at risk, but that was it, Vinnie. That was it. I know police were called to that house for other reasons. There were other 9/11 calls, but nothing happened. And she's gone in December 7th. They're evicted a month later for non-payment of the mortgage. There's no heat. From what we've been told with reports that there was trash everywhere. It was not a place to have kids. Yet the social worker signed off on it, I guess. And I do think that is the last time that the system could have saved Harmony Montgomery.
So now let's flash forward. December 31st, 2021, two things are happening. And now, all of a sudden, 2 years later, after she disappears in 2019, things start to happen. Take a look.
Adam, right? Montgomery? Yeah. Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man?
Yeah, I got nothing to say.
Right. So, hey, man, the only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is, okay?
Okay.
So, the concern is that you guys are sick, right? You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter. Okay. So I want to make that clear. So all you know, I have my body tomorrow, just like everybody else is being on you. So you just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. I mean, you're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay?
Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys.
But that's not what I'm just asking where she is.
I have nothing to say.
Manchester Police received a report this week that Harmony Montgomery has not been seen since late 2019 when she was last seen in a residence in Manchester at that time. The circumstances surrounding this prolonged absence are very concerning and are thoroughly being investigated as we speak. At this time, I'm not going to discuss or comment specifically on the investigation other than say that we have spoken with family members of Harmony, and despite doing so, our concerns for the whereabouts of her remain the same, which is why I felt it was imperative to speak publicly about Harmony with the hopes that by doing so, it will bring greater attention to this investigation.
Blair Miller, why is it at this point now that suddenly Harmony is on the radar and now, you know, you've got the chief is looking for her, police are talking to Adam. What's going on here 2 years after the fact?
Well, and prior to that, we had been talking a lot to Crystal, and she was very concerned about where Harmony was, and we became concerned. We were concerned for Jameson's sake. Jameson had a close relationship with Harmony, and they were in foster homes together, and he would ask us, you know, I want to speak to my sister. My husband, Jonathan, tried to reach out to Adam Montgomery, sending messages on Facebook, trying numbers we had. And we just kept asking questions about where is she and what needs to happen. You know, a lot of things can change after this trial. And one of those is sibling visitations. And had, you know, Jameson and Harmony been required to have visitations, we would have been up there in New Hampshire and been allowed to see Harmony, get eyes on her, to see how she's doing, make sure she was in a good situation, make sure she was going to school, make sure she was getting the medical care she needed for her special needs. None of that happened. That needs to change so more people can see what's happening to these kids who are put in situations where we just trust they're in an okay situation.
Judge, we only have about 30 seconds. Are you optimistic that things can get better so we don't have a repeat of what happened to Harmony?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be optimistic. It's been difficult with the legislature. You know, for me, it's all about changing the ICPC and interstate compact and making sure that there is no opportunity for a child on a child abuse and neglect case to cross state lines to live with someone without an ICPC. And that's, I think, one of the things Blair and Jonathan and I are working on. We've been in contact with Congressman McGovern out of Massachusetts to see whether or not we can get change at a federal level. It does not make sense to do it this way, state by state. That's one of the reasons Harmony is not alive.
We are out of time tonight. We'll speak again. Bob Ward, Blair Miller, Judge Carol Erskine. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.